Folks, we are all live. Vanakkam, Vandanam, Namaste. Folks, wishing you all a happy weekend here. And thanks a lot for joining us, Aishwarya. So, welcome to my
Thank you
show.
so
I
much.
call it as a fireside chat with Bushnam and our experts here. The fire is here, not anywhere around. So, for faltu jokes, let's get started here. So, Aishwarya, your profile is really interesting, man. I mean, looking at the toys that you design, looking at the products that you design, and the journey is also pretty interesting. From Bali, everywhere, all your photos looks pretty interesting. And I always wanted to live that creative life. But let me stop here. Let us talk more about you. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Aishwarya Nair, and I'm a toy designer and a play
Mhm.
expert, and I've been designing for children for the last 5 years. That's a small
Okay.
introduction of me.
Okay. Nice, crisp and clear. So, what made you get into this toy designing, Aishwarya? So, you took up product designing, right, as a study. Then, what made you get into toy designing, especially career focusing around kids? What made you get into that?
So that's a very good question. So I knew I wanted to do product designing from a young age, and
Uh-huh.
when I got into college for designing, I
Mhm.
realized I was automatically designing products for children.
Oh,
And when I started reflecting on why I was designing products on children, I realized because my mother and aunt were babysitters,
oh,
and I
okay.
grew up around children from the age of 4, 5. So I've always been around children. I was subconsciously gathering all this research and information on all children. And also
Okay.
my both my parents, my father and mother, are really good with children, and they have their own very unique way of playing with children. So I
Uh-huh.
had all that information and natural experience, so I automatically drifted towards designing for children.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting, yeah. That's interesting. So, in fact, during some of couple of years, I guess. So even I used to love kids a lot and used to play with them. Pretty easy to get along. But now after COVID era, when I go near them, I easily piss off them or say like they get afraid. So that has always been what do you say, fear for me, like a phobia. Oh my God, it's kids. So that's the reason why I asked you. I say like, what made you specially get into this particular aspect? Coming back, so about play dates, Aishwarya. So you
Mhm.
had mentioned that your new project is on a concept called play dates. That is what your website is also about. But what is that about? What is play dates? I mean, is it a term or is it something that you have found out? Is it your invention? Can you please explain that?
Yeah. So the meaning of play dates is that children come
Hmm.
together and play. And the reason why I
Okay.
created play dates was because during COVID, I'm very close to all of my nieces. They are three
Uh-huh.
years, 4 years, 5 years old, and I've been talking to all of them, and I realized everyone has lost so much of their precious playtime. And playtime is the best teacher for children. That's when they get to learn about their own emotions, about themselves, their body, their like they get to use their mind, everything. And COVID cost them a lot of that playtime. So
Okay.
what I wanted was to explore this idea of how play can be converted virtually, but without it being like a YouTube thing where kids just watch. I didn't want them to give like a very pure digital experience. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to create play where it's still play as they usually know outside, but the computer or the laptop is just a medium to use that.
Okay.
It just helps with that. So I created a virtual playtime, and I'm calling it play dates because children, everyone, all of us come together and we play. And it's like 1 hour of daily playtime that we come together and we
Uh-huh.
learn, and we do some activities, we do some art. It's just a fun time.
Okay. But isn't that challenging, Aishwarya? I mean, especially making an adult focus in a conference meeting or coming to our own day-to-day virtual calls, that itself is difficult. It is so stressful, and people they just pause on the video and go to do something else, and they might be just saying yes, boss, and get on with other stuff. So, I mean, how do you handle that? What are the aspects of say like designing something for the kids?
Yeah.
Because we all know all our grandparents say that especially this is the taunt or this is the advice to parents which grandparents give that boss you are always standing up, you need to go to the kids level and then only he can be so close with us. That's the
Mhm.
reason why we are their favorite. We understand that, but how to do it? How, because
Yeah.
since you have been very close with kids, so how do you do that?
So I can understand this is a question for many people, especially parents.
Uh-huh.
So when I started this, it was especially confusing because it was for age groups 3 to 5, 3 to 6,
Okay.
where so there's not really a lot of virtual thing that's there for this young age group. It's usually for
Uh-huh.
older age group because adults believe that kids don't have that much of attention span. The
Mhm.
key is that they have the attention span if as a facilitator you're able to hold that attention span, and
Correct.
play is not a forced thing. So I am not telling them that they have to do this, they have to do this. They are willingly coming, and if they want to play, we play. And it's like all children want to play, so they won't. I haven't had an incident where kids are like angry, or they get like distracted or anything, because all our play is like short bursts of activities where we
Okay.
full of energy, full of fun. So everyone's properly engaged. Every once in a while, there's like an older kid who would be like, I don't want to draw that. And I'd be like, that's okay. If you don't want to draw, that's perfectly fine, because it's their choice. They can. I'll be like, okay, let's just watch everyone else draw, and
Uh-huh.
let's just enjoy this moment right now, because it's not a classroom where I yell at them or where I tell them what to do
Okay.
or what not to do. If they like to do, if they want to play, they play. It's
Okay.
that simple.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. And all of this is being done through the Zoom, right? Again through the screen. So, what attracts them in the first place? Let's say,
Yes.
like as you mentioned. So, what keeps them caught to the screen? Because you're saying they are not distracted or they're not getting angry, etc. So, what is that magic that you do with them?
Yes. So I have figured out a way to use this virtual space, Zoom,
Uh
as
huh.
and convert into an interactive space. So I'll give you an example. Like we have played games where we are playing virtual basketball games. So
Oh.
where we are
Hmm.
using the screen as a net. So
Oh my God.
we are throwing paper balls on the screen. So
Oh my God. Okay.
it's not really a 2D thing anymore. We are just using it as a medium,
Uh huh.
and we all of us together have a very interactive experience, and we listen to sounds, we find objects near us. So
Uh
it's
huh.
not just the problem with children's attention span. If it's only visual, then it gets overwhelming. But
Okay.
if it's taste, smell, touch, like you auditory and different things, different senses are stimulated, then they can provide the attention, and they also enjoy that.
Okay. Okay. And any disclaimers here? Because you mentioned throwing things at the computer.
So
So,
if you come to the play dates with a child, you will know that it's all completely safe.
okay.
Because
Okay.
like a little paper ball will be so again. So a little paper ball is this small. Okay.
Oh,
If I
okay.
throw it at
Okay.
the
Okay.
screen,
Okay.
if I
Okay.
throw it at the screen, it's perfectly safe. I'm throwing it
Good. Good.
right
Good.
now. Yeah.
Good example. Nice example here, Aishwarya. So, parents, don't worry, your marks won't be destroyed. So, feel free to allow your kids to play, because that is, as I mentioned to you, work from home not only is a stress for you, having you around and having you all the time in the home with them is a stress for them also. So, of course, kids won't say, some might in today's age. So, coming back here, Aishwarya, as you rightly mentioned, you had mentioned about schools, okay? So, in that, do you think our education system is now preparing or molding the young minds in a right way? What do you have to say about that? Because we have
So
Euro Kids and all the brands, right? So
mhm.
still, do you think, are we preparing them in the right way? We may
so
be not. I may be wrong.
um, the education system, like I specifically work for children under the age of 5, 6, because that's when the most amount of knowledge and development happens for a
Uh-huh.
child. And we don't pay enough attention at that for that age group. We just assume that children are stupid, or they can't do much,
Oh my
or
God.
they can't
Okay.
pay attention. They need to be restricted to learning to ABCD or 1 2 3 4, when in fact they can learn so much. And
Uh-huh.
our education system is not completely empowering them to do all of that. We end up teaching them factual stuff, when in fact
Okay.
in today's world, in the next generation, they don't need access to factual stuff, because every factual stuff is on Google. It gives
Hmm.
us information in 5 seconds. What they need to learn, on the other hand, is understanding their own emotions, and being more human, being able to be curious, being
Hmm.
brave, being creative is what they need
Okay.
to be. And that's what we need to be teaching them, and not just, how much is 1 plus 1, or how much, what's
Hmm.
the what happened in 1963. That's not as
Hmm.
critical as teaching them how to be humans with true
Hmm.
human values.
Got it. Got it. And coming to that point, so one of the, say, like, from a candidate's point of view or from a professional point of view, another attractive word to put on your CV or resume is empathy. The
Yeah.
moment when you ask someone what is empathy, then they will be like, let me think. I just got this as a Google keyword. I thought, let me use it. So again, coming back to you, Aishwarya. So how different is this? So I mean, you had mentioned this. Now, how do you compare yourself with, say, like any kindergarten out there? So
Hmm.
of course, 1 plus 1 is must, and we should not only restrict to that. What you said is a very valid point, Aishwarya, that we should not underestimate our kids,
Hmm.
which we don't truly know the potential.
Yeah.
So how different are you in bringing those out compared to our school
Hmm.
system?
So the main thing is that play comprises of 4 or 5 different disciplines, and
Uh-huh.
every discipline teaches a lot of skills and values. So it could be body based, it could be mind based, it could be emotion based, it could be
Okay.
art and crafts, different things. And most of the schools focus on a little bit of this. To give you
Mhm.
a percent, um, our traditional schools teach children like skills only worth 4% of what they should actually be learning.
Oh my God.
The
Really?
holistic development, yes. So the traditional
Okay.
schooling system does that. And where in fact we are covering about like 80-85% of it at a very young age, because um,
Huh?
we don't just focus on the factual knowledge. We let them explore different things, and that's what we can do right now. So there have been times where 3-year-olds have learned about space and Mars and galaxies, and you won't expect a 3-year-old to learn that, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
what I would do as a facilitator is that just introduce them to these as games. Through games we would be like, oh, which one's bigger, is it Saturn or is it Mars? They would just know it by visuals or numbers. But what I'm doing is that tomorrow they are using these little visuals and exploring it themselves. They go to their friend and be like, oh, I learned about something yesterday, and let's become astronauts today and play. So while
Uh-huh.
playing they get to learn so much more than what they would have learned by just like learning names of planets by heart.
Okay. That's really fantastic, yeah. And this is the off that we have to bring out, and only 4% of whatever they could. That was a shocking one, because as Vaibhav Sisindi, one of our digital marketing experts, so he has put it in a right way that BTech and BE. So I see it as a participation, what do you say, certificate rather than a professional qualification. That's another thought process. But still, coming to this, that curiosity you need to bring out people, because the kid is willing to do all of that, but rightfully bring it out. Same thing happens for adults also. We have so many pre-notions, so many biases. Say, like, when I was in Malaysia, KL, KL Central, all the parking lots are interconnected in such a complex way that you literally, even my own partner are dealers and distributors, they forgot where they have parked the car. So when I say this, people who have visited New York, and they were like, okay, so what? But the moment when you share this with someone Indian, especially an entrepreneur, he was like, hey, wait, that's an interesting point. Why can't I have a Google Maps only for parking lots with a 3D tier, and you can choose your car wherever there? Or what about IoT? It will guide you wherever you are depending on your GPS, or if GPS doesn't work under the situation, anything else. So curiosity, maintain that, folks. See everything as new. Be after that butterfly, just as you were when you're a kid. Build those sand castles in an adult way. So that's what I feel. I never grow up. So that's the point here. And coming back, Ashwarya, so lucky, this was lucky thanks to our Modi ji. So we now have a new education system, a new edu reform. I feel a bit jealous because 2020, whatever they say that you can drop out anytime, you can drop in anytime. That's good. They say that from sixth standard onwards, you can take vocational subjects. That's good. But someone just told me that boss. And again, they are from the educational sector. She has been a teacher and a professor for more than 25 years. And she was like, Deepak, all such reforms are coming in. There were even more wonderful ideas before also, and even far more before also. Implementation matters. Let us not go get into that. Politics apart. Coming to you, what do you see about these reforms, Aishwarya? Feel free to share as comfortable as you are, because we know this is a topic.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the new thing that everyone's talking about, the NEP. So I have some views on it. I don't think I can talk completely about it until I read that all the pages of that document. But so far, as
Uh
much
huh.
as I know, there are some good things, and I have some contradictory views to some of the things in that document too. So there are
Uh huh.
some amazing things, like they want to do interdisciplinary stuff. They want to do hands-on experimental learning. They want to do a lot of new age learning. They don't want kids to be restricted to science, commerce, arts, and these things were long overdue for a change. Our education system was overdue for a change. There's also good introduction of play in early curriculum, early children's curriculum, and so there are a lot of good steps taken. It but it worries me of how many people can have access to this good
Mm-hmm.
education.
Mm-hmm.
And if poor children have equal access to this new change that's going to be done. My other worry is the information about using regional sticking to regional languages. How much are we
Mm-hmm.
preparing these children for global world when we are restricting
Mm-hmm.
them to these regional languages? What about children whose parents keep constantly traveling? Are they learning Marathi today and Kannada tomorrow? Are they learning another language day after? How will they get be comfortable with it? Why? And mostly, why are we so fixated about learning Indian culture so much when we have to prepare them for a global world? And
Okay.
as long as this is for purely from an education point of view, if we want them to grow into good human beings
Mm-hmm.
who will help each other out, who will create better things for the world, it's good. But if it's like a, because education is such a powerful tool, and if we use that to manipulate children to uh, you know be these fake patriots or nationalists in some way, then that will be just this all this will be just like jargon words to get parents to pay them money, be like, okay, we are going to be multidisciplinary, but when in fact we are going back few steps
Mm-hmm.
than we should be. So as long as that's not happening, and we won't know that until it's implemented, like you said. So until it's implemented and until some of those things are not as vague. Right now, the NEP is quite vague and quite um all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They are saying a lot of nice things, and everyone's just focusing on the nice things, which is also good to focus on the nice things. But we need to be as educationists and as people who want to care for the next generation, we need to be a little more uh, we need to think critically about what all will come under this, and what's good and what's also bad.
Super. Interesting, and honest point of view. Folks, everyone listening out there, these are our opinions. Please don't take it personally, because as you know, life is too short for doing all of that, right? So just opinions shared, views shared. That's it. No, we are not here to hurt anyone. We are not here to cross anyone. We are not here to oppose anyone. That's it. Coming back. So well put, Aishwarya. Well put. Implementation matters. So one more thing. So just like Sunanda, one of our own expert in a previous talk, she mentioned parents themselves, they don't know if a kid is stressed, if a kid is anxious, whether he's willing to learn that or he's a bit confused, and they go on to share their confusion also with the kids. So happens. So folks, this is a learning journey. Learning should happen always, and also you need to learn. We have one more expert waiting in that line to help you in better learning. Stay tuned. But before that, coming here back, so your thoughts and process is really interesting, Aishwarya. I really love it. And when it comes to education system, how would you, I mean, how can schools, how can education institutions like units or anyone, not taking any brand out there, anyone who feels like, yes, I want to make a change out there. I want to be the real hero, or rather than a hero, a real friend of a kid. and teach him what he wants to learn. If
Mhm.
that is the case, how will you collaborate with schools? How can institutions benefit by teaming up with you? Because
Okay,
we have many education entrepreneurs here listening. So
that's a
just
good
for them.
question. So, our main focus at Playdates is getting children to play more, and learning happens automatically because, like I mentioned, it's the best tool to learn for children. So if anyone wants to collaborate with us, it would be for a younger age group, because that's where the main our empowering should happen, and
Uh-huh.
that's for early age group as young as 3 to 5 years old. And it can happen even before that. So what we will do is have we are sort of preparing a curriculum for quarterly, half yearly, and an entire yearly curriculum, which will teach all the 4 or 5 disciplines that I mentioned before, which is through
Okay.
play, and they end up learning multitude of different things, and they're exploring, and it's all through just like a happy playful time. So if anyone wants to do that in their schools, they can approach us, and we can set up a curriculum uh, which is around this play, and they all they need to do is be open to letting kids learn this way, because we all have been brought up in a certain way where we are very like we as Indians are very focused on getting the textbook content right. So we need to be
Mhm.
open now and let them explore in their own way. Art doesn't mean that they have to color within the lines anymore. It means exploring, it means open, it means coming up with your own thing. So everything
Okay.
needs to come out of those 4 lines, that square. And as educators or any entrepreneurs out there, if they want to do this, they need to be also open to this change that's going to come.
Nice. Perfect. Perfect. And can this be done with whatever is, say, like going to be implemented, be it the grading system or whatever is the curriculum of the school, existing school already? So will this be in aligned with that, or how do you say that?
So I wouldn't say it's like perfectly aligned, because it will be a, a, a compromise that will have to be done.
Uh-huh.
And but there are some very interesting ways assessments can be done, because what schools need is that they
Okay.
need to tell their parents that, okay, this is where your kid was and this is where your kid is now. So
Mhm.
there are some interesting ways of assessing children, but when I mean it's not directly aligned, as I won't be comparing child A to child B. I won't be like child A is here, child B is here. I won't be doing that. What I'll be doing instead is child A has reached all these areas that are different, and child B also has reached these areas that are different. Both of them, they don't need to be competing with each other. They are
Uh-huh.
all individuals who are good at something that the other person is not, and we just need to nurture that and let them be curious and explore that on their own.
Nice one, G. Nice one. And rather than, so you had mentioned about compromising, right? I see this as, say, like probably complementing, because we do teach language skills also in our school, right? Just correct me if I'm wrong, Aishwarya. But we still go to, say, like what do you call it? I forgot the name. Any other training with regards to public speaking or anything. Toastmasters Club. Yeah, just got that. And abacus was a huge fad before that. Quick mathematics, etc. Even if it is not there in the school, these keep adding up. So is that the
Mhm.
way you say, or you're looking at the foundation itself, changing the foundation itself in the way
Yeah.
you're going it?
Yeah. So I would say the foundation. So because the foundation doesn't comprise of learning to write big words or learning to do hectic calculation. That's not what the foundation needs to be. The foundation
Hmm.
needs to be that children are open to learning a lot of different languages. So the children understand the use of mathematics, understand why
Correct.
we even do math. It's about quantity, it's about comparison. So the basics of all these subjects is what needs to be taught, and that teaching can be done in a very happy and engaging way, which children are already doing. It's just
Hmm.
that as facilitators we are just guiding them. It's called guided play, and we just guide them through this
Superb.
pattern of play where they learn all these things, and they
Uh-huh.
can use all of these things when they grow up in a much more complicated way. And I won't be a person who would be controlling that. It's up to them how they use this knowledge in as complicated or as simple ways as they want when they grow up.
Amazing. Nice one, Aishwarya. Nice one. And folks, now it is the right time we learn more about ourselves first. Learn more about this human mind. As I always say, people are people are realizing the importance of human thoughts. The way, because this is the only asset which could not yet be marketed out, or which you could not say like buy for money. That is where people are after. Why I say that? Everyone's learning capacity is different. Some are visual learners, some are experiential learners, others may be learning from reading and writing. So that's how we are, say like that's how is the DNA that the parents gave us, or probably how we are. Now let me give you an example. So this is a perfect I mean, I won't say perfect, this is a very good example of one of our own professors in my college. So he showed us the power of derivatives and infinitives. We have that concept in Max, right? As all of you know. So what he showed is real life applications, as if suppose you were to test an aircraft. Why is these formulas being used here? Or why are you here sitting and breaking your head on it? He showed if you have to test an aircraft, this many billions and millions of dollars are being spent just to make sure the flight can smoothly fly. It should not shake. It should reach the destination without consuming much fuel. So there are huge wind tunnels where you test the flight. Immediately, he just took a mathematical model where he showed that entire wind tunnel, the days it took to experiment with the flight with different conditions, same can be done in a mathematical model. He's not entirely replacing it. He's saying, still test it. The more you test, the better and safer the journey will be. But if you're testing it for 10 times, do it 5 times with just formulas. Make sure your flight is designed in the right way. Then put and do the other five testings in the wind tunnel. You're reducing your cost. So he was like, that is where I understood, man, where were you? I thought Max was just for theory or just for whatever you see on the books. That visualization, I needed it to get into Max, to get into coding, to get into programming. By programming, let me give you just one more short and crisp example here. One of the NLP, here, natural language processing. One of the NLP expert who is into AI and machine learning, he just analyzed different poets, include our own very great Bharadiyar and Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore. He showed how these people write their poems. That was analyzed, each word was analyzed, put it into machine, a pattern and a graph was created. He showed, boss, for the computer, this is how Tagore looks like, this is how Bharati looks like, probably this is how Premchand looks like. This is the pattern. You call these folks are interesting, right? So when you look at it, there is Max into everywhere, or you can literally see Max into everything. It's your wish, how you see it, how you feel it. Be good storytellers, boss. Depending on your audience, be good storyteller. That is what Aishwarya here is. So coming back, cutting short stories, and let's talk business. Let's talk money here, Aishwarya, because whatever we say, politics, education, kids, parents, capitalism wins is what I feel. Coming back, so we have plenty of investors and HNIs here listening. Are you open to accept investment? Are you looking for people to franchise out, taking your concept, taking play dates into probably say Gulf, Singapore, etc.? Are you open for that?
So we are in fact looking for investors right now. We have just gotten into stage 2 where, like we said, we are doing curriculums for a long term playful learning where we are focusing on early childhood education through play.
Hmm.
And we haven't thought about franchisee yet because I think we are still too young for that, and
Okay.
we need to be in a good grounding. We need to be able to know that we can do real change before we diversify into franchisees, but we are
Hmm.
looking for early investors right now.
Super. So people who are into seed funding, people who are into I mean the very first stages, please do contact Playdates. So Aishwarya is here. The other founders are also, we can put you in touch. So that was a honest one here, Aishwarya. So whatever you're prepared, put it out frankly, because there are people to support you at different stage. We just have to keep hunting. That's it. So coming back, so on your website as well as you, you call yourself as a play expert. So what does that mean? Who are these play experts? Who are these people?
So, play experts are people who know the intricate ways that play can be beneficial to child or even adults. So these are people
Uh-huh.
who know that how play works. Play for usual people it would mean just doing something that's fun, but play has a beginning, a middle, and end. And
Hmm.
these things are where we can input subtle nuances that can help children or adults understand or learn a few interesting things in a very enjoyable way. So, and these are facilitators who would facilitate this in a non teacher like way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, is it any way different, or is it similar to, say, like game designing or game theory? Is it in that lines,
So,
or?
game designing and game theory is very different, I would say, but
Uh-huh.
I can see why people outside can mix up these things. So, game is, I would say, main differentiator between game and playing is that games always have an end goal. You need to reach
Okay.
here, or you need to get this, you need to win this, is what is game. And playing is this nothing. You just play for as long as your heart desires. You just explore, you just come up with your own things, and that's when the learning happens. Because while doing all the mistakes, while building a crazy Lego
Uh-huh.
tower, and it falling down, you learn the basics of physics without even realizing it. So that's how play happens.
That's interesting, Aishwarya. Gives me one more point to all the adults and especially parents out here listening. When was the last time you played? I'm not talking about a game of a cricket or a game of a badminton. Just like Aishwarya mentioned, without an end goal, when was the last time you left your art open out there to have fun? Think about it. So that's the reason, Aishwarya. So why people confuse with games, with, say, like game theory, etc., is because the moment you say play, okay, so I need to have these rules, these formulas, this is how the game has to be designed. So we all think in the end goals, because goal is not a destination, it's a journey. That, keep that in mind. So again, cutting short here. So Aishwarya, so play experts, as you rightly put, are people who facilitate play, who make it as a way that people can learn, they can experience. We got that point. So, are you, again, as you mentioned, you're a startup, you're planning to grow, and you're set up now. Are you planning to hire any professionals, be it freelancers, full time people, etc.? I mean, we
Yeah.
have a lot of professionals also here listening out. So, what do you say?
So yeah, we are looking for people, and it will be a process. So it will start with getting the investors on board, and then we also want some community managers. We want some play experts too. And when you say play experts, we are it's a very new field, and not
Uh-huh.
everyone will be um, like everyone will know this term. So it's important that people who can interact with children in a very calm and happy way, and can
Hmm.
be respectful to them. So people who have interacted with children, and we can sort of coach them to become play experts, if
Wow.
that's
Okay.
if that's their desire to be. And we also would eventually need more people to do other aspects of the business itself. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. And all of this will be put on your website, correct? As a
Yes.
opportunity opening. Nice
Mhm.
one, nice one. So people, play-dates.com. Have a look at that. Keep updated on that. So you might find any opportunities, and you can get a career shift also if you want. Yeah. By talking about career shift, so as you rightly mentioned, the play expert. The term itself is a new one, a nascent one, and
Mhm.
also a very niche one, rather than, say, a Montessori qualified professional. So
Mhm.
what is it that, so for a play expert to be, do they need to have any particular qualification, or how should, say, because a lot of people are now also in the mindset, so 2020 has become a year of change. Many people now want to change their field, change their career. So what do you suggest about that? How should one go in this path to become a play expert?
So one thing it's not is that you don't have to be teachers. So you
Okay.
don't have to be a trained teacher to be a play expert. But it's if your experience counts, like what you have done with children or what you have done for children will matter, and it's your intention. So your
Uh-huh.
experience and intention is what will matter. So if you want to genuinely create a change And if you
Okay.
have interacted with children and are comfortable with them and know how to deal with children in different ways without being the usual like 90s teachers who would yell or hit you, we don't want them in any case. Yeah, and we want people um, to not be adults in that moment. So
Okay.
we want them to be like you said, we have to get to their knees again, get down to the knees to play with the child rightfully. So virtually also we need that. We need people who can consider themselves as children and interact
Uh-huh.
with them in that way.
Nice one. Really put it in a perfect way, Aishwarya. That's really interesting. And people, if please rewind this here, because I know there are many people who had that deep inner desire that someday I need to say like open a school or a preschool because I love kids. I love playing with them. But Aishwarya, I mean, this is no one's fault. The immediate thing that comes to people's mind is either can I take a franchisee of say like a preschool, or should I open any other school, or should I go in? But going and joining as a teacher, they will think because I might not have a BE, I might not have so and so qualification. This rightfully opens up. So people who are planning in this direction, professionals especially, have a look into this place, have a look into this field, learn, and contact Aishwarya, playdates.com. So you do offer a training also, right, Aishwarya, for people to become play
Yeah,
experts?
so
Nice.
we will be coaching them if they have those specific skill sets that we're looking for.
Perfect one. Perfect one. And one more thing, I again wanted to put this personally out to all the parents listening as well as to you, Aishwarya. So you had mentioned that just like we get down to the kids level to play, same we have to do in the virtual field. But the virtual field, adults, we ourselves, not everyone is aware. Say, be it Google, be it Instagram, be it Facebook, how they do and how they make you do what they want to do is only being revealed now.
Mhm.
Instagram is planning to check out the likes button soon because they have been getting too many of negative feedback. So don't know how they will do it or when they will do it. Coming back to this point, digital field is say like a magical forest, correct? It is for adults also. We sometimes go into Google to research something or go into social media. We forget ourselves. Then we return back. Oh my God, this was my goal. Where am I and where am I now? So for this, how do you think we have to train our kids, Aishwarya, or say like, is there a particular way you help kids, or is there any module specifically on internet, on say like browsing or using internet in a right way? Because parents, we can switch on the toggle YouTube kid safe videos. Probably we might delete some apps. We might put an alarm as this much only the time you have to use. But boss, this is our breath now. This is our life. What do you suggest?
So I'm going to say something contradictory here. So all my advice to all the parents is
Uh-huh.
not give phones or computers as much as you do, and especially for younger children. So like I said, we are using it as a medium and not as a video. So what happens is when young children are interacting with screens in a 2D way, in just like watching and
Uh-huh.
maybe clicking a few buttons, what happens is that they are constantly getting that instant gratification of something happening. In the long term, it will make your child um, less patient. They won't be able to pay attention to a lot of things. They will get agitated
Okay.
really fast. They won't be able to take care of themselves because every time they are in a smallest dilemma, if they are bored, if they are irritated, they are getting phones. So as soon as they get the
Mm-hmm.
phones, it builds the idea that in future, if something happens to me, something else will give me an instant gratification, and that's what's wrong. So my advice is, if you are engaging in digital experiences, make sure it's an experience. Make sure you are physically and mentally invested in that experience. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just a medium. So if you're doing some dance classes, that's perfectly fine. Dance or art classes or different things where you are engaged, it's a good thing. But if it's just playing with apps or just clicking buttons, they all are selling these things where you learn about shapes, you learn about colors through all these apps. But trust me, they learn best in nature, around the house, through their parents. And if they are bored, let them be bored, because boredom teaches them to be patient and creative and curious. Yeah.
Perfect. Great one, Aishwarya. So this, I guess, I mean, folks, we are not a parenting expert out here, neither Aishwarya nor we. This is just something that we have seen ourselves. So she is seeing kids a lot, and being in that field gives this wisdom. So phones, avoid it. Digital media, avoid it. And as you rightly said, this is the distinction between online and offline world, folks. So again, just like she mentioned, this interaction should not be focusing on the screen and these features. So our ultimate goal should not be on remembering Zoom or this entire laptop as a say like a feel good factor. Rather, it should be on the activity. So and correct me if I'm wrong, Aishwarya. So say like for a kid, going back to a kid's level, the moment I think about, I mean, how do they call you? Do they call you auntie, teacher? How do they call you? Sorry for
They
that.
call me Miss A. They call
Miss.
me Miss A.
Wow, Miss A. Okay,
A,
interesting.
like this.
Okay.
Yes.
Miss A, interesting. So the moment I think of Miss A probably as a kid, don't think about the beard. So immediately an activity should come to my mind. That is what you mean here, right, Aishwarya? A play or what do you say? An interesting experience.
Yeah.
Great,
So
great.
it would be a story experience, just excitement. It doesn't need to be an activity specifically. It's the learning of that activity. It's what their memory is, the little things that they have learned is what.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Adults out there, to make this even more interesting, or to put it even more in a strong way, again, to not to hurt anyone, let us take and learn from our own politicians and our own brand experts. So whatever ads you see, you talk about it in physical life. You forget that that ad was on a Facebook or an Instagram or on a TV. Whenever any of your political leader, irrespective of who they are, when they comment, you feel that, whatever anger, sad, happiness, excitement, you feel that, you speak about that in your circle, in your office, wherever. Same as with sports. You forget about the device, about the computer, you watch sports, you get excited, you almost feel yourself you're into the stadium or you're onto the ground. That is what we are talking about here, folks. So that also can help you a lot in helping kids stay away from the negative effects of digital media or online world. Coming back, Aishwarya, we also have a lot of manufacturers, entrepreneurs, and innovators mainly. Innovators who have a couple of patents out here listening. So this, I mean, toy designing is something like say all of us wanted to do, because even as see, we are still kids. I'm proud 90s kid. We still want to hold toys. So what do you have for them, Aishwarya? Do you have any requirements? What do you think about the field, toy designing, toy products manufacturing, etc.?
Yeah. So yeah, I meet a lot of people who say that, oh, I wish I knew about this field, I would have not done engineering. So
Okay.
but it's not that easy.
Uh-huh.
So to become a toy designer, you need to learn everything that comes with design. You need to learn about user experience. You need to learn about interaction, live interaction. You need to learn about user emotions. So whoever you're interacting with, because it's such a powerful field, whatever you do will have it. It's like you you will have the power that a 30-year-old adult will talk about what you had given them at a young age, and you will
Hmm.
remember what you had learned. So you need to understand to not learn how to not do harm firstly, and you need to be able to learn all the things that could help them, even the smallest of things, how the corners of a toy should be, what material it should have, like what's the sustainable material. The earth doesn't need any more plastic right now, and even if you do plastic, how can you reduce that harm? So whatever you need to do, there are a lot of different aspects to toy design, and it's a very deep field, and you need to be prepared to learn about it to get into that. And
Okay.
yeah, and explore and experiment and keep practicing once you have learned your principles.
Nice one, Aishwarya. And we do have some of our 3D printers here. So, I mean, who are into 3D modeling till manufacturing till patenting. So, 3D printing entrepreneurs as well as material entrepreneurs, just like
Mhm.
you created materials, right? So, that was pretty interesting out of biodegradable materials.
Yeah.
Do you have any requirements currently? Are you looking to source something?
Mhm.
Or is there any requirements in the market out there also?
Okay. So we do plan to get toys and
Uh-huh.
children's products into our into the playdates format, so that children can have a more wholesome experience of physical world experience. We aren't looking for anyone exactly right now, but it's a
Mhm.
process. So if you are manufacturers, you can write to me and we will stay in touch as soon as the requirement comes up. It also depends on the current state with COVID and
Yes,
how
yes.
much things are going to get better or worse, or how far things are and how much you have to travel and all of those things. So it depends on those. And once we are at this stage, we can definitely figure out a collaboration.
Perfect one, Aishwarya. So, folks, stay updated on playdates.com. Otherwise, also, I help people in innovation consultancy and in creativity consultancy. Feel free to reach out to bushnam.com. Many things haven't yet updated in the website. Feel free to reach out to us. Aishwarya is here. She has requirements in the future. Plus, there are plenty out there. As she rightly mentioned, this is not a child's play. This requires serious business skills to get into toy manufacturing or be get into kids
Yeah.
products. So, but India is lacking them. We need people. Let's make in India. Come out, folks. Come up. Let us do that. I'm here to help you, starting from digital marketing till production till patenting. I can help you in all that. Bhushanam.com, my second name.com is the website. You can get in touch. You can get in touch through the comments also. I will be sharing both our contact details, I mean, playdates.com as well as bushnam.com in the YouTube description below. Have a look. Feel free to get in touch with us. Before wrapping this up, Aishwarya, so we have spoken a lot. Okay. So for all the parents, interested parents, and smart parents out there listening to this who wants to really make change, who wants to play themselves as well as with their kids and learn in that right manner. Can you give an example as how an activity looks like from playdates?
So like I said, we focus on building different skills through the game. So
Uh-huh.
every game has certain skills. So recently we played something called musical statues.
Oh.
So that is to have that physical gross motor skill of the body,
Uh-huh.
paying as well as developing the skill of listening or paying attention. So what in the you must have played this as kids, where music is happening, you move around, and when someone says statue, you become a statue.
Okay. Okay.
So here we do something similar where we use Zoom. So I play music on Zoom, all the children are dancing, and then I say freeze, and they freeze, and then they can't move, and they have to look at everyone who else is not frozen. So it's a very physical life experience, and it's super fun. Children enjoy it a lot. They go crazy dancing.
Uh-huh.
And similar things, like that, there has been an activity where we sort of understand emotions around food. So there
Okay.
was a very simple activity where I show them images of foods and they have to make faces at them. So they confused face or happy face or sad face when they see. I'll show them rice and they can be like, oh, I like rice, or they can be very sad about it. So it's a time where they can introspect about their own feelings,
Uh-huh.
and there's no judgment around it. They can be like, oh, I love ice cream, I hate potato. It can be that, but it's a little bit of that nudge that I'm giving them to think about it, so that next
Okay.
time they can maybe try a new food, or just be comfortable with what they feel about it. It's so all these little feelings that are targeted through individual games. Yeah.
Nice one. Have you shown them a bitter card?
Bitter gourd, no, I think many of the children are not have not yet tried bitter
Okay,
gourd that
okay,
age.
okay, 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 okay. Parents, please don't experiment. Let them grow, and then probably you can give that as a punishment. So, coming back, so that was pretty interesting. Good one. And folks, it is not only about remembering all the countries out there and their capitals, or say like saying the tables at that young age. All these activities also are important. And play is not only just say like, let me run and you catch me. It can happen in this form also. That is the play we are talking about. So let us wrap it out here and let me check if you have any questions. Just give me a moment, folks. Let me quickly check. Nice, very well said, Aishwarya. Between play versus games from Hema, Panashia Valley. Learning through playing helps adults too from Vasi. Learning need not be rigid. Well said. Amazing, amazing. How, yeah, we have one question. How is this, yeah, different from a gamification or is it the same? Say like, so we also use this. And just before you answer, Aishwarya, so say like in call centers, to make sure the agents are not say like bored, or so that we can improve their performance, we use gamifications.
Mhm.
So is this the same, or what is difference between play date and a gamification?
Yeah. So it's a good question. And I'm actually working on developing a course about toys and games, which,
Uh-huh.
because this is a confusion that a lot of people have about between toys and games.
Uh-huh.
So this course will clearly define the difference. But for in a gist, so gamification, like I said, it's about um, reaching an end point. So you are sort of just giving them like a slightly fun experience to reach that goal. But play
Uh-huh.
is about subconsciously learning. So, like I mentioned the
Okay.
previous game about the making faces at food. It's not a game because there is no right or wrong answer. I'm not saying, oh, how many people like this. If you liked rice, you won. If you didn't like rice, you would lose. I'm not doing that. I'm
Okay.
using play. I'm making them think about what they are doing. If it's an emotion, I'm making them feel comfortable with their own emotions. If it's about body, I'm making them use their body in new and different ways. And
Uh-huh.
if you think about games, like if I say Monopoly,
Uh-huh.
you don't really learn about your emotions, but you express your emotions, or you don't think about, don't use your body in certain ways. What you do is that you learn about skills like currency, or you have to use your mental capacity. Like you have to either be good at your hand skills, or you have to be good with how you're thinking. So there is
Okay.
strategy involved, or things like that. Play doesn't have that. Play has is more explorative. Does that
Hello.
answer the question? Yeah, does that
Yeah, yeah,
answer?
it is. It is. Can you just repeat the last 5 to 10 seconds? I guess we
Yeah.
lost you there.
So
Yeah.
I said, so game might have hand skills, like if you're
Uh-huh.
using a remote control, or if you have to reach a certain, get certain coins or something, or it needs mind based skills like strategy or thinking or planning, plotting, those things. And play doesn't have that. Play is more explorative. Play has doesn't have a very specific end goal. Play is about enjoying whatever you're doing. So
Okay.
while a Monopoly is a game, a Lego is a toy that you play with, because
Okay. Okay.
they are
Okay.
experiential and they are different in certain ways. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. I guess Vasi sir did that answer another of your question too, but let me still read it out,
Mhm.
Aishwarya, in case you have a different thought to put in
Yeah.
there. Play means drama or game, according to you? I mean, is it a role play? Is that what you're asking here, Mr. Vasi?
So it's a good question. I can answer that regardless.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
so that's the thing. So play is so many things, and role play, when you say, it's one part of it. It's part of social play, and under social play there is pretend play. So
Okay.
so play right now, what he mentioned is drama or role play is just one, like that 4% that school's teaching, that kind of 4% of play,
Okay.
which is pretend play under social skills. So social skills will include other things like sharing or understanding what other someone else is saying, understanding body language. Those also
Uh-huh.
things come under play. Everything. So it's a very diverse field, and game is just like game is also very wrongly used, just as wrongly used as play is
Yeah,
used.
yeah. Sorry
So
to interrupt. Can you just
yeah,
hold the mic a little bit further?
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Is that
Perfect,
better?
perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I was saying that play and game words are quite often wrongly used. So game, you can play a game, right? So
Uh-huh.
I think that's why it becomes a confusing term. But play in itself is can be used as a noun also. And
Ha. Yeah.
yeah, so um sorry, what was the question?
So the just a moment. The question was on
The pretend play, yes, the
pretend
role
play,
play and games
drama,
different,
and
yes.
this is yeah game.
Exactly. So, like I said, pretend play is part of one aspect of play, while um,
Mm-hmm.
games can be used to play all these things. So, I can
Okay.
use a game of, let's say, pretend to be a doctor to
Ah,
do
ah, ah.
pretend play for the play.
Got
Yeah.
it. Nice
So
one. Nice one.
it's
Nice
a
one.
diverse thing that
That,
needs to be
superb.
learned.
And one final question here. So, does these games, so do you have it a set? So the question is, does these differ from subject to subject? Does the games differ from subject to subject? Is what the exact question by Mr. Vasi again.
Okay. So by subject, does it mean like traditional subjects like science, math, history, geography, or is
Probably,
it?
I guess. Is that
Yeah.
so, Mr. Vasi sir? If not, please feel free to comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this play is not around traditional subjects. It's about um, social skills, human emotional values, gross motor skills like body-based
Okay.
skills, and other things. So there are disciplines under which there will be different types of games that will be played to learn these different skills under each discipline. But so it could be like when I'm learning comparison, the skill of comparison, I might use planets to learn the skill of comparison. So you can learn more about other subjects accidentally, but not purposely.
Hmm. Perfect. Perfectly put. And that's a very good way to explain that, Aishwarya. And I guess you should also, this is a confusion that all of us have, irrespective of adults, parents, whatever age. We have been so grained from the young age that things has to be goal oriented only. But whatever you say are bringing in so much of a clarity that I'm really surprised, man. I'm really surprised that from such a young age you have all these concepts well, I mean, in a very good clarity, and you're also putting it in a way that people can understand. Aishwarya, please feel free to take this amazing job. Hats off to you. Please keep up this great field. And any idea when are you planning to start the course out there? Parents, if anyone would like to join, yeah.
Yes. So I'm in the process of creating it, and it should be out there in about 2 months. It's a lot of
Okay.
work to create a course, so it's taking me a bit of
Okay,
time.
okay. And frankly speaking, Aishwarya, so you can take this as a feedback also. Reading your website, it said it almost looked like an interview. So, how does parents enroll their kids? Do they have to first get an interview with you, or do the kids have to pass an interview or sorts like that? How does
Wow.
the
Yeah.
entire thing work?
It's definitely not an interview.
Uh-huh.
And so when you come into playdates, you can register for a free trial, or
Uh-huh.
you can register for 1 month or 3 month memberships. Though we are sort of changing the format in the coming week, we are
Uh-huh.
making it a more like I mentioned, more curriculum based thing, where you get where
Okay.
it's a 3 month course where you do
Uh-huh.
different play based things. So once we launch that, we will update that on playdates website as well. And meanwhile, you can just go to the website and click on free trials. The next free play date that happens, you can join that and
Mhm.
experience it for yourself, and then you can decide if you want to pay for it or not.
Nice one, nice one. A perfect way to give educational experience here, Aishwarya. Hope I had that during my engineering time also. So I'm jealous. Parents, please have a look. Please have a look at the website playdates.com. Feel free to enroll your kid. Be with them.
Yeah,
They can be with the play
play-dates.com.
dates, yeah, .com. Oh yes, parents can be with the kids, right, during the exercise, or they should not
Yes.
be.
So it's a good question. I wanted to address this before. So we have
Uh-huh.
had parents be part of it in the beginning, but
Uh-huh.
so very soon after the first play date, parents realize that's their free time. So parents can take that time to have a coffee, take a nap, because we have had parents saying, "Who finally I've got time for my own chai in peace." So you can have your own time and let your kids be. They are in perfectly safe hands. But if you want to be
Okay.
around, you can be around, and you can also play with them.
Nice one, nice one. So parents also can have a trial, right? I mean, is the kid compulsory here? Of course, I will suggest come as along with your kids. But if they just want to get into the Zoom session and have a look, can they do that, Aishwarya?
We don't encourage that with just
Uh-huh.
parents, because we don't want children to be sort of judged by adult eyes. So
Okay,
we
okay,
want
okay.
them to be around children and not adults.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Well put. Well put. Have that in mind here, folks. And hope you enjoyed the session. Feel free to share any comments even after the live ends too. We are here to help you. We are here to answer you. Again, just reiterating, play-dates.com. Aishwarya is here to help you. She is more than happy to play with your kids. Second, bhushanam.com for for anything related to innovation, digital marketing consultancy, or entrepreneurship consultancy, feel free to approach us. Thanks. Have a great weekend here, folks. Enjoy.
Yes. Bye
Vanakkam.
bye. Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thanks a lot for joining us, Aishwarya. It was really an interesting session. Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.